नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुल्लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरं ओं तत्सत् Hare Krishna. So yesterday we saw an important topic on karma. So all of us, I'm sure, would have had little bit of idea before coming to the session on what karma exactly means. Because being born in Bharata Bhumi, we all have heard this term called karma. Right? So whenever somebody is put into suffering, or when somebody enjoys, it's all because of one's own karma. So I'm sure that yesterday's session would have been a little bit of an eye opener for those who don't know the complete concept of karma. Many things that we discussed yesterday. We also introduced something called akarma, which is beyond pious and impious activity. Right? So karma means pious activity. Vikarma means impious activity or sinful activity. And there is something which is neither pious nor impious. That is what we call as karma. Any activities that is done to please the Supreme Lord Krishna is called akarma. That is what Krishna is recommending in the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, the whole act of Arjuna fighting in the battlefield of Kurukshetra is nothing but an act of akarma, which is aimed at pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So, in the fifth chapter, which is called as Action in Krishna Consciousness, Supreme Lord Krishna is clearly advising Arjuna to act for the pleasure of Krishna. So, if we do in that way, then we are not bound by the reactions of either karma or vikarma. So, and we also saw why bad people sometimes suffer, sometimes enjoy, whereas good people, they seem to be suffering all along. So it's all because of their past karmic reaction. Karma is quite complex. It is not so easy to understand. It is very intricate. We may be thinking that we are doing a good activity, but in the end, the result may not be as we expect. So that's because the activity per se may be good, done with a good intention, but if it is not yielding the good result or a pious result, then it is going to give us bad karma. So those are some of the things which we saw in the class yesterday. Any question?
Prabhuji, there's one question, Prabhuji, please. நேத்து சொன்னீங்க இல்லையா, I mean, karma வந்து activity, whatever we do to something, somebody, அது நம்மளுக்கு திருப்பி அது கர்மாவா வரும்னு. What happens in a thought process, Prabhuji? இப்போ நம்ம வந்து before Krishna's consciousness, நம்ம வந்து நிறைய பேர் வந்து சண்டை போட்டா நம்ம தப்பா கர்ஸ் பண்ணிருக்கலாம், தப்பா நினைச்சிருக்கோம் அவளை பத்தி. So will that also, even thought level ல நினைச்சா கூட, will that also add up to karma, Prabhuji? Thank you.
Excellent question, Mataji. So Mataji's question is whether, I mean, when we perform an activity, then we do get the result. What about thinking bad or thinking good about somebody? So is it also going to give us a result? So it used to give the result in the earlier ages, in the earlier yugas, but specifically in Kali Yuga, something that we do harm to others on mental platform, on our mind, is not considered as bad. So, in other words, only when we end up committing an activity, it is considered as either karma or vikarma. Something that we do on mind level is not considered as a bad reaction or a bad activity. Is that fine?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Another question. This could be very weird, but see, there are people who are subjected to this black magic and all those things, Prabhu.
Right.
And they get into activity which they say they might do things without any awareness. வாழ்க்கை தெரியாம சில தப்புகள் நடந்திருக்கலாம் அவ லைஃப்ல. So will that also see, because it is through somebody doing bad things to somebody through black magic ன்னுச்சு, அந்த கர்மா கூட இவாள் தெரியாம பண்ணா கூட இவாளுக்கு அது ஆட் ஆகுமா?
Okay, so if somebody does black magic, then it is done wantedly, right?
Not the person who is doing it, Prabhuji. I'm saying, if suppose the person who is being witness, I mean, like, who was experiencing this black magic, அதனால அவங்க சில தப்புகள் பண்றான்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்களேன் அந்த black magic உடைய இதனால. So அவள் அந்த தப்பு பண்றச்சே, will that also add to their karma?
Right. That's also a good question. So basically, when somebody is affected by bad black magic, that itself is an effect of the previous karma that the person did. That is why he is being affected by the black magic, because of which he is ending up doing more either sinful activity or pious activity. So the thing is, this karma is a vicious cycle. It doesn't stop. Just like, I come and punch you and you come and punch me. That doesn't mean that the karmic cycle is ended here. No, it is going to continue. So similarly, we may be doing certain activity not wantedly, out of force, either through black magic or through any other means, but it doesn't really matter. This karmic cycle is vicious. We are ending up doing certain bad things due to somebody affecting us. That is because in turn we did something bad to them in the previous janma.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I would like to.
Yes.
Can I?
Sure.
Yeah. Charity done in Krishna consciousness, is it akarma or karma?
Charity done in Krishna consciousness. So can you elaborate a bit more? What exactly?
That is, we are doing charity, that's like we are of Annadan and things like that. That is also charity. Will that come under akarma or karma?
Okay, so Annadan per se, if it is offered to Krishna, if you do Naivedyam, offer to Krishna and give Prashadam to others, that is akarma.
Okay.
If you don't do that, if you don't offer to Krishna, then it becomes a pious activity.
Pious. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Yeah, anything else? Okay, so let's get into today's session then. Share my screen. So we saw that we are all suffering, we are not having happiness. Then we saw that is because we don't get connected to God, who is God. And then we also saw who we are. Are we this body or this spirit soul? And yesterday we saw more reasons as to why we are all suffering. So today's topic is going to be on activity which we do that is going to connect us with the Supreme, connect us with Krishna, which is what is called yoga. There are different kinds of yoga as mentioned in various scriptures Bhagavad Gita also talks about different types of yogas. So which yoga should we practice in this age? Some of the yoga systems mentioned in Bhagavad Gita may not be practical in the present age, mainly because of the nature of people in the Kali Yuga, in the present age. In the scriptures, it is mentioned that people in this age are Manda, Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya, Upadrataha. So we are all Manda. We are all not having so much of intelligence, very less intelligent. We are not able to remember things. So whatever we read or studied in our childhood, we don't remember now. Even if we have to memorize slokas, it becomes very tough. Right? So, and also we are always disturbed in the Kali Yuga. You see any Kali Yuga people in the present age, people are always disturbed. Though they have everything in life, they may have good house, they may be earning very nicely, good family, children, but still they are always seeking after something which they don't have. That hankering is always there, because of which people are always disturbed. So, given all these characteristics of people in Kali Yuga, most of the yoga systems or yoga practices sound to be impractical. So today we will see which is the yoga system which is practical and doable for all of us. So as usual, we will offer our prayers to Shri Radha Krishna by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Krishna ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Topmost yoga system. Yeah, Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna, in many places throughout Bhagavad Gita, he is emphasizing on practicing yoga. So this particular verse from the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where he talks about Dhyana Yoga, so where Krishna says, Tasmad Yogi Bhavarjuna, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. These days, we are finding so many people who call themselves as yogi. We also have a chief minister who apparently is a yogi. At least he calls himself as a yogi. There are many people who say that, come to me, I will teach you yoga. You pay me so much of money, then I am going to teach you yoga. What exactly do we mean by yoga? Krishna himself is saying, do yoga. But what exactly is yoga? So that is a question in front of us. First, we will see what all are not yoga. We may be thinking that these are yoga, but they are not really. Physical exercise for good health is not yoga. Why? Why is it so? So physical exercise, what is the focus here?
The body.
Concentrating on the body.
Yes, but what is the basis, the basic philosophy? Are we this body?
Mind, a soul. So the soul has to get purified, Prabhuji.
Exactly. So we are not this body. That is the basic understanding. That is not advanced philosophy. That is the basic philosophy. So when we are only taking care of our body by doing different asanas, pranayamas, exercises, so that is not yoga, because by yoga we are actually connecting with the Supreme. We will see in the next slide what yoga exactly means. Because some exercises, they are done for sense gratification. I know my friend who recently said that he has joined certain yoga system. He is practicing that yoga. He is feeling fit and healthy. I asked him, what is the purpose of doing that yoga? And he said, you see, these days I am getting old. I am not able to eat non-vegetarian food. I am not able to digest. My body is not having the digestion capability. So I am doing certain yogic exercises so that my body can be rejuvenated. I will be able to eat whatever I like to. So that is the whole intention of doing yoga. I didn't respond back by saying anything. I just kept quiet. But that is definitely not yoga, because the basis of any yoga system is to control our senses. There are certain restrictions in terms of what we eat, how we eat, and when we eat. We cannot eat anything and everything at whatever time that we wish to eat. Right? So that is a very basic in any yoga system, not just Bhakti Yoga, but in any yoga system. So if your intention is to eat nicely by keeping your body fit, hale, and healthy, then that is not really yoga. And somebody may say, I'm going to Himalayas, I meet that Babaji, this Babaji, I want to perform tapasya in the Himalayas. That is also not necessarily yoga. Long life. So we know certain famous yoga guru who I think lived maybe even 100 years or little short of that. The famous BVKS Iyengar, I believe, right? So that is all fine, longevity of life, but that is not really the intention of performing yoga. Others may say, I get a lot of mystic power. In the photograph, you can see the person who is doing yoga, he is floating in the air. So we get a lot of mystic powers. Unfortunately, that is also not the intention of performing yoga. These are all not yoga, you can clearly say. So which means in the present time, you find in every street, there is a board which says, come here, we will teach you yoga. After this class, you can clearly say or clearly reject saying, this is not yoga, this is only a physical exercise. Right? So then what really is yoga? The word yoga, it comes from the Sanskrit dhatu called yuj. From yuj dhatu, the word yoga was framed, which means union in love of Jivatma with Paramatma, individual consciousness with supreme consciousness. We are connecting ourselves to the supreme. So this is the purpose of yoga, which is to connect ourselves or reawaken our love for God. That is the whole purpose of performing yoga. So we know there are 84 lakh species of life. We saw in the previous classes as well. 80 lakh species are animals. Only 4 lakh species are human beings. In the very first class, we saw what the difference between human being and animal is. If we are doing the same activity, eating, mating, sleeping, defending, not connecting ourselves with the Supreme, then we cannot call ourselves as human. We are two-legged animals. So that point we categorically saw in the very first class. Right? So out of these 4 lakh species of human beings, we can broadly classify them as atheists and theists. The ones who don't believe in God, the ones who believe in God. The ones who believe in God, they are also of different degrees. Somebody may say, I go to temple, I pray to so-and-so, Devata or God. for my material well-being. I want to get a good score in my examination. I have my IIT JEE exam, so I want to get a good score. Somebody else may say, my family is in lot of problems. My husband is unwell, so I am praying to so and so God. I am doing so and so vrata. So that is also something which we see around us. We also would have done all this, right? So these are believers are, but there are others, even in the theist category, whose intention is to understand who is supreme, right? For that, they sincerely render service to the Supreme Lord. So these are different degrees and categories of theist. Coming to atheist, again, there are people who hate God, hate God, but they follow certain moral principles. But there are others who don't follow any moral principles. Their only intention is to enjoy in their life. Right? So these are different categories of people among the human beings. Now, morality, it is relative. So what do we mean by that? Something which is moral to me may be immoral as per the religious principles. So we will look into different examples in the modern times. Abortion, something which is unheard of in the previous generations. Say our grandmother, grandfather, in that generation, so there is no concept of abortion. For that matter, the childbirth happens in their own house, right? Abortion is considered as very sinful. What about the present time? Abortion is quite normal. So I don't want a child. So what is wrong in killing the child in the initial stage itself, when it is in the stage of a seed? What is so wrong about it? So morality is relative. What is right for me may be wrong for you. What is wrong for you may be right for me. So we can go on and on, diverse. So I don't like a certain woman. Why I need to adjust with her and live for lifelong? Instead, let's separate and let's have a different life. Let her get married. Let me get married to some other woman, and we are happy. So what is wrong in it? So it is quite moral. Alcohol, right? These days, especially when you work in a corporate firm, when somebody is not habituated to alcohol, he is considered as an alien. We are all bringing Western culture to India. It is a corporate culture that we need to meet our customers over a table and have a wine. Right? So it is quite normal these days. Women drink, men drink, everybody drinks. Right? But again, as I said, morality is relative. 99% of the people think all these things are quite normal. And then we have illicit relation. Only in India, at least to some extent, marriage, the concept of marriage is still alive. But if you go to Western world, there is always this concept of live-in relation. Today, I may be living with one woman. After a month, I would be accompanied by some other woman, right? So these are quite normal. And eating non-vegetarian also. What is so wrong about it, right? So after all, we are not supposed to kill human beings. Animals don't have soul. The other day we discussed whether the animals have soul or not. But when you are a non-believer, when you are in the so-called modern society, all these things are considered to be moral. If somebody is not committing all this, then you are considered as an outsider, right? So with that understanding, these concepts of so-called morality is practiced by a person who doesn't have any understanding whatsoever on the real concept of I. They think that this material body is all in all. And the goal of life is to have materialistic enjoyment in life. Those are the set of people who break the laws, who consider immorality to be morality. Right? So such people, what are the activities of such people? They work hard, they earn a lot of money, and they only want enjoyment for their body, not bothered about soul at all. The other day we saw the parrot inside a cage. We are taking care of the cage so nicely, polishing it, but failing to feed the parrot. The parrot is representing the soul. They don't have, the materialistic people, they don't have any concept whatsoever about soul. So they vent out their feelings, not bothering about what others would feel. They don't care about their surroundings, right? So they just pour it out. Just do it. Don't think about the reaction or the result. They don't worry about the concept of karma, right? My intention is to lead a happy life in my present life. I'm not bothered about next life. Just do it. And they are busy building castle on sand. They always live on an imaginative world. They think that this whole world belongs to them. The family or the society that they live in, they are going to be eternally present with them. They don't care about their next life. So such is the characteristic of a materialistic person. But real morality cannot come without understanding God. Why people in Kali Yuga are so immoral? That's because they don't have any idea whatsoever on who God is. What are the principles laid out by God? So they don't have any idea. Now coming back to today's topic, when we want to connect with the Supreme, which is what we call as yoga, right? So people who follow certain moral principles, abide by the Supreme Lord's laws, they are the ones who tend to practice yoga. And broadly speaking, this yoga system are categorized into 4. You have the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and finally Bhakti Yoga. I'm not going to discuss in detail about each and every one of these yoga systems because that would take hours and hours. I will not be able to finish it in one session. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking about all these different yoga systems. Karma Yoga, briefly, Krishna advises somebody to perform their duty, not attached to the result, practice detachment, offer the result to the Supreme Lord. So that is what is Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga, you do Karma Yoga, and along with that, you also gain transcendental knowledge. You gain the knowledge of who you are, who is the Supreme, how you connect with the Supreme. So that is the next level, attaining transcendental knowledge. And the third level is you perform your duty and you also gain knowledge. And above and all that, you also perform meditation, meditating on the Supreme Lord within one's heart. That is what is called Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, in other words. And finally, above all these 3 yoga systems is Bhakti Yoga, which is the topmost. What is Bhakti Yoga? We will come to that in few slides. right? So these are the different yoga systems. So Ashtanga Yoga, I'm just talking a little bit about Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. These days, performing Dhyana or meditation is a very prominent yogic lesson, right? Which many of the spiritual organizations, so-called spiritual organizations, say that we are teaching. But what really is Ashtanga Yoga all about? It's not so easy. Bhagavad Gita clearly says what that is. First and foremost, if you have to perform meditation or Ashtanga Yoga, you cannot stay with your family. You are supposed to go to a secluded, sacred place. It could be on the bank of any holy river like Ganga or Yamuna, or it could be that you go to a forest like Vrindavan, Dandakaranya, or any other forest for that matter. So the place where you are going, you shouldn't have any people surrounding you, any amount of people surrounding you, right? And you need to lead a life of complete celibacy. Interaction with women is not allowed at all in this yoga system. You are not even supposed to see a woman in the Ashtanga Yoga. And what else? How are you supposed to do your meditation? You need to go to a secluded place. You lay a kusa grass. Kusa grass is one variety of grass. In Tamil, you call it as darbai, right? Darba. You lay a kusa grass on the ground, and then you cover it with deer skin, and the asana should be neither too high nor too low. You should not close your eyes. You should not open your eyes. You should focus on the tip of your nose, right? In the rigid posture. You cannot change your posture. You need to keep meditating on the Supreme Lord within for thousands of years. And what is the goal of such a Ashtanga Yogi? The goal is to realize the Paramatma within the heart. Right? You take darshan of Paramatma within your heart. That is the end goal of Ashtanga Yogi. Now, how many of us are willing to give this system a try? Is it doable?
No, Prabhuji.
Anybody with a yes?
No.
Right? I am only hearing no. Because the system that I explained a while back, I am just giving a short synopsis. There are many rules and regulations to be followed. It is not practical at all in the present age. Right? After all, we all live for 60, 70 years at the max. There is no question of doing meditation for thousands of years. Right? So you can straight away drop this idea. Why you and me, even 5,000 years back, when Krishna spoke this Ashtanga Yoga system to Arjuna, he clearly said, I am not capable of doing this, Krishna. Tell me something else. Arjuna said, my mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, very strong, oh Krishna. And to subdue it, I think is more difficult than controlling the wind. I can even control wind, but I cannot subdue my mind. Because to perform meditation, your mind should be completely under control. Right? You should not be getting distracted. You need to focus on the Paramatma within your heart, which is quite difficult. It's not so easy. Arjuna, such a great devotee of the Lord, he himself is saying it is not doable. So then Krishna says, okay, don't worry, you can actually follow system which is quite doable for everyone. Sorry. in this verse, yoginam api sarvesham madhyatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo matah. In the 6th chapter, Krishna is emphatically saying, who is the topmost yogi? That yogi who is always meditating on me and doing bhajan, who is doing bhakti with lot of shraddha, faith. Such a person is very, very dear to me. So, which means when you developed bhakti or devotion unto the Supreme, then that is the topmost yoga system that one can practice. Right? So, what is bhakti yoga? You have Bhagavan. So, who is Bhagavan? We saw the other day somebody who has all 6 opulences: Aishwarya, Virya, Yasasa, Shriya, Jnana, Vairagya. Right? All wealth, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, all strength, all renunciation. So, such a person is called Bhagavan, and Bhakti Yoga means by rendering loving devotion unto that Bhagavan. Who renders that? A Bhakta, a devotee. So, we are all trying to become a devotee. Right? So, that is the whole intention of these classes. So, we start from zero, step by step. We start practicing, we keep hearing about Bhakti Yoga. We know all the techniques to be followed in Bhakti Yoga, starting with chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By doing these services, we actually are doing Bhakti Yoga, connecting ourselves with the Supreme Bhagavan, Krishna. Why Bhakti Yoga? It may be a question to us, right? So Bhakti Yoga is something which gives maximum result, but with minimum efforts. For example, to perform Jnana Yoga, I mentioned 3 other yogas: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is out of question, right? We cannot be going to a secluded place, meditate on the Supreme Lord within for thousands of years. That is out of question. What about Jnana Yoga, which is philosophical speculation, studying all the Vedic scriptures, trying to scrutinizingly understand who the Supreme Lord is? That would take a lot of time. There are so many scriptures. Where is time for us to read all those scriptures? First of all, we don't know the Sanskrit that these scriptures are written in. Right? Nobody knows Sanskrit. So where is the time for us to understand all these philosophies? Right? Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, as I mentioned, it is received through Shabda. We hear from authentic sources on what has to be done, and then we follow. As simple as that. There is no previous qualification required. Anybody can do Bhakti Yoga. Whether you are a woman, whether you are a Shudra, whether you are a Vaishya. Krishna himself is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Striyo Vaishyas Tata Shudras Te Piyanti Parangatim. They can also attain the Parangati, topmost destination, by following Bhakti. So there are no previous qualifications. It's not needed that somebody has to be born in a Brahmana family, somebody should be a great scholar, a great Pandit. No, there are no qualifications like that. What is required is developing a little bit of bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. And of course, there is assured success. There are n number of examples from the Puranas how devotees, they practiced Bhakti Yoga and attained perfection. There are n number of examples. And by performing Bhakti Yoga, it cleanses our heart completely. We become so pure. At the moment, we are in a contaminated state. But by performing bhakti, all the contamination goes away. And all the more, Krishna takes charge. In the other yoga systems, it requires good amount of practice and sincere effort from the person who performs that yoga. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, we depend on Krishna's mercy. So Krishna himself takes charge of us. When you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards us. Right? Even now, with all sincerity, you all have come for these classes. Krishna is taking a note of all of you, all of us. So he is rewarding us. He is going to reward us by giving more opportunity to know about him. Right? And all the more, Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita, and to teach Bhakti Yoga, he personally came again in Kali Yuga 500 years back as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in West Bengal, Mayapur, 500 years back, and he was the one who propagated this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this easiest process. So Bhakti Yoga begins with chanting. Nama Sankirtanam. Chanting the holy name of the Lord in the association of devotees. That is what is called Nama Sankirtanam. This was spread all around India by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it was by Srila Prabhupada's mercy that 50 years back, this Nama Sankirtanam, this devotional service or Bhakti Yoga, it got spread around the world. Now, if you see, there are almost all the countries around the world where you find devotees, where you find temples, ISKCON temples, where they practice Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Right? So this was the seed of Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga was given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, who are none other than Krishna and Balaram. So, as part of Bhakti Yoga, what are the practical aspects that we need to be understanding? How is it that I can show love and devotion to Krishna? Is it enough if I think Krishna as my son or Krishna as my loving father? So what should be the mood in which I approach Krishna? That may be the question which might be lingering in our minds, right? There is a process to be followed if you want to develop love towards Krishna, right? There are 9 processes in to be specific. What are they? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, and finally Atmanivedanam. Just to give a short glimpse of what these are, Shravanam means hearing. The whole process of Krishna consciousness begins with Shravanam. We have invited you for this Discover Yourself courses. You all came on Zoom and you are hearing to the classes. That is actually the beginning of developing love towards Krishna. You are willing to give 1 hour's time every day for the continuous 6 days, which means you are doing this service called Shravanam. And I am sitting here talking about the process, Krishna. That is Kirtanam. Smaranam. Now you listen to the classes, you go back. During the day, you start thinking about what all you heard from the class. Oh, Prabhu said we should chant. So why can't I do chanting? So that is meditating on whatever you learned. That is Smaranam. Padasevanam. You go to any temple. You visit Vrindavan. You go to Ayodhya, visit the new Ram temple. That is Padasevanam. You are using your foot in the service of the Lord. Archanam, you worship the Lord. Yesterday, Anila Mataji was asking how I should perform puja at home. What are the procedures? There is a set of procedure which is given. So you have your own either deity of Krishna or a photo framed Krishna picture, whatever may be. So you start worshipping Krishna or the Supreme Lord at your home. So that is Archana. Vandanam. Every day morning, you pay namaskara to the Lord. You pay obeisances to Tulasi Maharani, who is very dear to Krishna. So all these are Vandanam. Dasyam. Considering yourself as servant of Krishna, acting on his behalf. So that is Dasyam. Sakyam. You act as a friend of Krishna, friend of the Supreme Lord. So if somebody is friend of the Supreme, then you would take some time to speak about him, speak about his glories. So that way you can become more dear to Supreme Lord. Right? So that is Sakyam. And finally Atma Nivedanam, which is surrendering oneself completely to Krishna. So these are the different processes of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga, as I mentioned, it is quite easy and very simple. Anybody would be able to perform it at your own home. I will tell you one very nice, interesting story or pastime, which happened during Krishna's time. When Krishna was here 5,000 years back in Mathura, Vrindavan, this happened. So this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it so happened that there was one old lady who was in Vrindavan. Those days, they did not have a big transport facility. Vrindavan was a forest. It comprised of 12 forests. People from one forest, if they have to go to another forest, it takes a lot of time because they did not have any car or other facilities. They had to walk. And in between, there would be Yamuna river as well flowing through. So it is not so easy to cross Yamuna. So all the people around Vrindavan, they know that Krishna is supreme. Right? So Krishna was born, he is a great personality. So they have that understanding. So there was this old lady who was living on the other side of Yamuna. Krishna was on this side of Yamuna, and this lady was on the other side of Yamuna. For many years, she was hearing about Krishna's glories. Oh, Krishna is a young boy. He's very beautiful, very attractive. When you look into him, you feel like you are losing yourself to him. You know, all the beautiful descriptions of his body, everything was described to this mother, this lady. So she started developing love towards Krishna. She wanted to see him. Since she was selling fruits, she wanted to go and give away fruits to Krishna. So this is her desire. She had that strong desire that I want to see Krishna and I want to give away fruits to him. So one day what she does, she carries a basket full of fruits. She goes to Yamuna. She looks for a boat and a boat comes. She requests the boatman, kindly drop me on the other side of Yamuna because I want to go there to sell my fruits. So the boatman said, okay, get in. So he took her and dropped her on the other side of Yamuna. She was old lady and she did not have any money at all. She was leading her life by selling these fruits, small little fruits. So she crossed on the other side and she kept the basket full of fruits on her head. And what she did, she started singing the glories of Krishna because she wanted to see Krishna and She remembered of all the pastimes of Krishna and she started singing out of love. It is mentioned that she started singing this. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So she started singing different names and pastimes of the Lord, Govinda, Damodara, like that. So as she was singing and searching for Krishna, she reached the point where Krishna's house was nearby. And at that point, little Krishna, he was few years old. He was all alone in the house. His mother, Yashoda, and Nanda Maharaj, they had gone out. So Krishna was all alone. He heard this wonderful song sung by this old lady. Immediately he thought, okay, here is my devotee who wants to see me. So let me give my darshan. So he, in a sweet way, she ran on top of the house. From the first floor, he saw outside and he could see this old lady trying to sell fruits. So immediately he came down, he called out that lady, and the lady saw Krishna for the first time. As soon as she saw him, she was completely fixed on the Supreme Lord's form because the form was so beautiful. She could able to correlate with the wonderful features of Krishna, how Krishna's form is so and so, Neelamega Shyam, curly hair with a peacock feather, with a flute in his hand. So all these descriptions she heard from other devotees. So she was completely attracted to Krishna's form. In fact, she was completely mesmerized looking at Krishna. So she came close to him and in a loving way, Krishna asked, "Oh, Dadi, can you give me certain fruits? I will pay you with grains. That is how my mother buys all these fruits. You please give me some fruits." Then this old lady said, "Oh, Kanaya, this is all for you. You take how much ever you want." So like that, she gave the entire fruit bag. And in turn, Krishna, in a loving way, he went inside the house. From the bag of grains, he picked up little grain from his little fingers. He started running towards this old lady. As he was coming, all the grains spilled down because his hands were so small. And whatever little was remaining, he gave it to that old lady. The old lady happily put that grain into the basket. Immediately, what happened? The basket, which was filled with little grains, it became a basket full of costly jewels, gold, emerald, diamond, all the valuable jewels. But this old lady did not notice all that. She only started looking at Krishna's face. She was not bothered about what is there inside the basket. And then Krishna said, "Okay, I will go inside because my mother will scold. I am not supposed to be standing out for long. Thank you so much for giving me fruits." Like that he said, and he went inside the house. And this Mata, this old lady, she put the basket on her head again and she started going back. Her intention was she wanted to go back to her house, bring more fruits so that she can give to Krishna. So she went inside. She again boarded the boat. She got into the boat and kept the bag full of supposed to be fruits, but it was filled with costly jewels. She did not see at all. And then the boatman was completely puzzled. "Oh, old lady, you came with a bag full of fruits, but now it is full of jewels. What happened? How is it that you got these jewels?" So at that point, she started looking into her basket, and to her surprise, she saw the basket was filled with gold. She realized that it was the mercy of Krishna, but because she was doing bhakti without any motivation, without any inner intention, her only desire was to serve Krishna. She did not want any material profit from Krishna. She wanted to just see him. So she was not happy that Krishna gave her basket full of golds. What she did? She took the basket, she threw everything in the Yamuna because she wanted the basket to be empty so that she can bring more fruits to Krishna. Without having second hesitation, she threw all the costly jewels inside the Yamuna. And she was happily singing the Lord's holy names, Lord's pastimes. She was in completely different world altogether. Right? So such a simple lady, she did not have any Vedic knowledge. She was not a great Pandit. She was not a Sanskrit scholar. So she was not born in a great family, Brahmana family. She was a normal fruit seller, fruit vendor. But because she had that sincere desire that come what may, I want to serve Krishna. I want to take darshan of Krishna. Right? So that is what Krishna is looking at. Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Tadaham Bhakti Upahritam Asnami Prayatatmanaha. With love and devotion, you give Krishna little leaves, flowers, fruits, or water. Krishna will accept that. What is he looking at? He is only looking at love and devotion. He is not looking at anything else. He is the owner of everything. He doesn't require anything from us. Right? So, only with love and devotion can we conquer Krishna. Just like how this old lady was able to do. She was able to perform bhakti unto the Supreme Lord, who is unconquerable. Krishna's another name is Ajita. Nobody can win Krishna. But when somebody has that devotion, somebody has that bhakti, that conquers Krishna. Why did Krishna speak Bhakti Yoga or Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? Because Arjuna was a devotee. He was a bhakta. So that is the only qualification which we all need to acquire sincerely. So that is the whole intention of these courses. The intention of these courses is not for any other reason, right? Of course, you may be writing a small assessment, you would be getting a certificate. Those are all side benefits, right? The main benefit or main intention of these courses are to give a glimpse of what bhakti is all about. When we get a glimpse of that, then that interest kindles in our mind. Then we want to know more about what Krishna has spoken in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the whole intention of these courses. Right? From today, we understood a little bit about Bhakti Yoga and also some aspects of other yogas. Any questions from any of you?
Prabhuji, has anybody done the Ashtanga Yoga?
Hare Krishna.
Has anybody done the Ashtanga Yoga?
Sorry, your voice is not clear, Mataji.
One second. Anybody done the Ashtanga Yoga?
You mean in the present age?
Any age, I'm not particular. As in any yugas.
Yes. So in the previous yugas, many people did Ashtanga Yoga. There are references to individuals who did Ashtanga Yoga. Like for example, Dhruva Maharaj is one evident example who did Ashtanga Yoga.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Vishwamitra to now, Prabhu.
Yeah. So Vishwamitra also, yes, can say. Yeah. Any other questions? So you need to become a devotee of the Lord, and the easiest way to do is chant His holy name. This Maha Mantra specifically given for the age of Kali. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So merely by chanting this holy name, minimum 108 times, you can actually become very dear to Krishna. That is the beginning of trying to become a devotee of Krishna. So if you are already chanting certain rounds of Mahamantra, try to increase your rounds.
If we don't do one day also, it gives me stress, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So that stress is good for us. Instead of being stressed for a material reason, we can be stressed for Krishna. Any other questions?
No, Prabhuji.
You have explained very well, Prabhuji. Thank you. Very bold.
All Srila Prabhupada's mercy, whatever little I learned, I just okay, so I assume there are no more questions. Anything on the chat? Okay. Fine then. So let's continue and try to finish this course by tomorrow. Hoping to meet you all again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Till then, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandat Pranam.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Pranams, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.